everybody, welcome back to Gardening TLC. We are out in the greenhouse today because it is time for me to winter sow the seeds that I want to get started this year. I don't do a lot of seed starting in trays. I do a little bit, but for the most part, I like to winter sow because it is so hands-off, so easy, and I am so busy, and I've had great success doing it. So we are going to winter sow everything that we can do at the beginning of March, get it outside, and I'm going to take you through and show you how I'm doing it. All right, what is winter sowing? It's basically mimicking nature in a milk jug or a 2-liter bottle. I use either. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my seeds in these bottles and put them outside and let Mother Nature do the rest. Now, last year I did this in January, February, and my results were 0 came up for me for the January, February items. So I thought this year I'm going to wait and I'm going to do it a little bit later. So I am going to go ahead and get this done. So what I've been doing is collecting soda pop bottles, milk jugs, anything that people could bring me. I got one, one big one here that was like an apple cider because I guess no one that I know drinks milk in a 1-gallon jug. Now, the one thing I have done is I have cut them all open. I've left them so they're hinged. But the one thing I do have to do is I have to poke holes in the bottom of every one of these to make sure that I have good drainage. And I have I got a shopping cart full right here. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get drainage in the bottom of all of these. And basically what you need to do this is some kind of container or vessel that light can get through. You take the lid off and water's got to be able to get down here. And what you're doing is you're kind of creating a little mini greenhouse that we're going to put outside. You also need duct tape to tape them closed. I have a garden marker so I can mark what's in them. And not only do I mark the outside of the container, I mark a little tag inside the container because here's what happens. I mark the outside of the container and then when I open them up, and I don't have a chance to get to them for a couple weeks, or it might take me a little bit to get them all in the ground, and this part is gone, I forget what's in here, so the tag inside is really important for me too. All right. I have gardening gloves, so if you want to use gloves, you can. I also have my potting tray right here, and it is full of potting soil that I have pre-moistened because I want to give the seeds a good jump start. And so all of the soil has been pre-moistened to where you can make a ball and it'll like come together, but it won't have water dripping out of it. Here's the little tags that I'm going to use. And I like these white plastic ones because then I can transfer these into the ground and they hold up really super well. But most of what I'm going to be doing is flowers. And these are going to be for my cut flower garden, the cottage garden, to add to what I've got going at home. And then some other places that I want to put some flowers as well. So let's get started. Okay, let's start with vegetables and herbs. So one of my customers, her name is Joyce, she gave me these cilantro seeds and I meant to plant some of them last fall and I didn't get around to it. She gave these to me, I want to say in May of last year, and then I never got them planted. So I'm going to plant them today. I'm going to plant them a little heavy in there because I don't know if my seed germination rate has gone down. But cilantro is an herb that's going to grow when it's cool out, and it will not grow in the heat of the summer here in Zone 5. I actually am going to start it off in my little pop jug, and then once it gets going I'm going to immediately transfer it out into the garden because we are at the beginning of March, and so I love cilantro. Another one that I'm going to try for a vegetable in my winter sowing is the lettuce burpee bib. Now this one is saying that it's going to harvest in 75 days and you want to thin them 8 inches apart. So once these come up and they get a little bit of size to them, then I'll probably pull them out of there, maybe pot them up in another 4-inch container, let them grow up just a little bit longer, and then I'll take them and put them out. I've never grown this one from seed. Normally I bring these in and let somebody else grow them and it's just a transplant, but we're going to try it and see how it does. In fact, I've never winter sown any vegetables before. This will be my very first year. And another one I'm going to do is a baby Napa cabbage. This is the little jade, and this one is from Renee's Garden. And what it says about this one, I've never grown it. It says it has a tangy, sweet flesh and delicious, cool, crispy texture. Extremely vigorous with excellent disease resistant. Little jade plants form dense, vase-shaped 8 to 10 inch heads. Enjoy the versatile and nutritious crunchy stalks as a snack with dips or in coleslaw. Oh yeah, I can't wait to eat these. All right, the next ones that I'm going to talk about are for the cut flower garden. We had good luck with that last year. I really enjoyed doing it. I learned some things that I didn't like, and I learned some things that I did like. So one of the things that I did last year, and I did winter sow these, was amaranth. Now I did 4 different kinds last year, but I have found since that I really only like the 2, and the girls really only used the 2. And so we're going to be doing hot biscuit and velvet curtains. For me, this is an annual. It's a great cut flower. It's a great dried flower. Holds its color really super well. This was a favorite of the girls to use, and so we're going to plant this one again. The other one was hot biscuit. Now, hot biscuit, I had mixed results because I didn't pinch it. This is an upright amaranth, and so I got these ginormous stalks that we didn't know what to do with. But the ones that I actually did pinch, we used all of those. So as long as I get in there and I pinch this one, I am excited to grow this one because the girls really like this one to use as one of the fall colors or later in the summer, or even if you're looking for like that caramel brown color to add to your bouquets, they really like this one. So we're going to do this one too. All right, we grew all 4 of these for the cut flower garden last year, and I did winter sow all of them, and that is a straw flower. We're going to do the apricot peach. We're also going to do the king size raspberry rose. We're going to do the purple red, and we're going to do the copper red. Now, I made a couple mistakes with the straw flowers last year. So when I winter sowed, or when I put them in the jug, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Sowed, I'm not sure. You guys can correct me down below. But when I put them in the jug and they came up, I didn't get them in the ground right away, and I waited too long, and then I planted them out, and it was really hot, and my first batch all croaked. Luckily, I planted a lot of these, so I had a second batch that I hadn't put in the ground yet, and I waited until the temperatures cooled off a little bit, and then I got those in the ground, and those all did really well. I really like these. We use these in a lot of dried products, and we used them fresh as well. I like the colors of all of them. They were super easy to grow. Had really good luck with these, so we're going to plant these 4 again. I've never planted scabiosa before this way, and so I'm going to be doing the scabiosa stellata. Isn't that one cool looking? I'm also going to be doing the Scabiosa Oxford Blue. Now, I got both of these from Johnny C. All right, the last one that we're going to try to winter sow is Fever Few. This is a filler flower. Now, I tried to direct sow this in the ground last year, and nothing came up. So I'm going to try to winter sow it this year, get it to come up, and then put it in the ground. Now, Fever Few typically is only going to last 2 or 3 years. It's what I would call a tender perennial. So I would like every other year be doing this to try to get it in the ground. So we're going to try this one this year, see if we like it. If we do, we'll continue to do it in that pattern. Otherwise, I'll just give up because this will be my second attempt. Feverfew is a reliable, fairly drought tolerant, unfussy plant with masses of small white flowers on scented ferny foliage. Blooms attract beneficial insects and are great cut or dried flowers. It avidly reseeds, so that's really cool that it'll do that as long as it stays in the patch where I'm going to put it. So it's deer resistant too. How about that? And it's going to grow in full sun. I got this one from Botanical Interest. So I'm having a little bit of a seed problem going on. Everywhere I go, every show I go to, I'm buying seeds because somebody's got seeds and I'm going, oh, I have to have that one and that one and that one. Wait till I show you the ones that I picked up this last weekend. All right, this next one is for my cottage garden. So I have hollyhocks that I started last year that are in there, but then I wanted to start some other hollyhocks as well. So the hollyhocks I started last year, and I did the winter sow method, and then we grew them up and planted them out. They're in the cottage garden, and man, I kept them in trays for a super long time because I don't think it was, I don't know, maybe it was like July when we put that cottage garden in. So they were holding on for a super long time. So we're hoping that they're going to bloom this year and then throw seed all over the place. For me, a hollyhock is a biannual, which means that the mother plant grows up the first year, and then it gets its flowers the second year, and then the mother plant dies, and hopefully you're going to throw the seeds all over the place. But I want to make sure that I always am in hollyhocks because I think that's kind of a staple for a cottage garden. And yes, I know I'm going to have to stake them, but I'm okay with that. But check this one out. I got this one right here called Peaches and Dreams. Isn't that gorgeous? I can't wait to plant this one. 5 to 6 feet tall, but look at the color on that. All right, now you want to see, oh, and it's a double blossom. Okay, now you want to see the other one that I found. Oh my God, I love this. Check it out. Oh, I love this one. 4 to 6 feet as well. This is a single flower. This one is a handsome little fella, isn't he? he's going to look great planted next to my peach guy. Yeah, so we're going to winter sow these guys as well. Hollyhocks, I had great success winter sowing these last year, and I did it in March. So I know that these, if the seeds are good, they're going to be awesome. The other thing for the hollyhocks is they are the perfect candidate to winter sow because they hate that wet soil in the spring, so they're hard to get going. So actually doing them in the winter jug or the winter sow method is, I think, the very best way to start hollyhocks. All right, these next ones are for my vegetable garden and for what I'm growing around the house. I am going to put these in my herb garden as well. I like to grow calendula. One, I like to harvest the flowers, and two, I use them as a host plant for aphids. And so I got one from Botanical Interest, got this one at a show too. But this one's called Zeolites. Isn't that cool? I think this one is so pretty. Now, I did the winter sow method on calendula last year. They were fantastic and they did great, and every one of them took and every one of them grew, and it was fabulous. All right, but I'm also going to do, I got this one here from Swallowtail Garden. This one here is called Triangle Flashback. I like this one, so I decided to try it. And then I got one from Johnny Seeds, and this one's called Orange Button. So I'm going to plant all three of these. I like to put them in my vegetable garden beds. I also like to put them in my herb garden, and it really does help me with aphids. But they're beautiful, and I harvest them and I use them. We use them in our bath salts here at the store. We dry the flowers. All right, last but not least, I'm going to try some annuals, and I just got some varieties that I wanted to try. I am going to plant some Johnny Jump Ups just because they're easy to grow. Violas will self-seed all over the place, but I just want to make some pretty spring pots with these. So what I'm going to do is get them going in the jug and then probably lift the whole thing out, transfer it into a shallow bowl, and then just have this really pretty spring color. And then, I don't know, I don't want them in the ground because I don't want them to spread all over. So I'll just use it as a spring annual. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 pansies. I got both of these also from Swallowtail Gardens. And this first one is called Neon Violet. And the second one is called just Yellow Pansy. And so I'm going to winter sow these as well. Kind of do it up with my viola. And then I have some ranunculus corms that I started. And we're going to kind of put those all together for a spring planter. We'll see if I've timed it right. I don't know. I might be a little bit too late, but we're starting them anyways. So kind of the rule of thumb is if you can easily germinate this guy in the ground, you can winter sow it. I think that this is by far the easiest way to do it. So let's just do a couple. I'm not going to take you through and show you how to do every one of these because that's boring. But I am going to show you like just how I do one. Okay? Because if you do one, you know how to do all of them. Okay, so once again, we collected our bottles, and then we took the label off, we poked holes in the bottom, we ditched the lid, threw it away, and then we filled it up with moistened potting soil that we got wet enough to make a ball but not squeeze water out of. Now, one of the things that I will do while I'm working is I'll just throw my duct tape in the lid so it'll stay open for me. So the first one that we're going to do, and the only one that we're going to do, because you don't need to see me do all of them, will be the calendula, and I'm going to do this one here. Now, some seeds, and it'll say on your seed packet, for the most part, they need light to germinate. So you're not going to cover the top of the seed with anything. You're just going to kind of put them in there and pat them in there real nice so that way they can germinate because they need light to germinate. And I can get this open. Okay, so here is my calendula seeds, and there aren't a lot of them in there. See, just that's it. So there you go, that's calendula. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scatter these around the top. I am spacing them so that I can find the individual plants, and I'm actually just going to do one of these. See, I'm going to put it in there, and I'm just going to tap that down just like that. I'm going to put my other seeds back in here. I'm going to close this up, and then I'm going to make a label. Okay, I'm putting that guy right in there, and then I'm going to take my lid and I'm going to close it up. I pre-cut a piece of duct tape, and I'm just going to take that and wrap it around my bottle like this so it goes all the way around. Close my little bottle back up here. So I'm going to write it up here. All right, so there you go. And now I'm going to take this little guy outside, and I'm going to repeat this with all of the ones that I'm doing. Sometimes the seeds are really super small, so amaranth would be a perfect example of that. I mean, these guys, I don't even know if you can see those. Those are so stinking tiny. And so what I do is I just have enough on the palm of my hand that I can sprinkle them on here, and then I just sprinkle them on. And when it calls for just a light coating, I just take some loose, dry soil and just put a little bit on top, and then I'm taking my spray bottle, and then every one that I did, even if it was, you know, it needed light to germinate, I squirted the water on top just to either settle the seed or just to get that top dress that I put on there a little bit wet. Now, if the seed needed to be planted deeper, like a hollyhock, then I just pushed it down into the seed, into the soil itself. Check it out. All my little tulips are starting to come up. Nice. There you have it. How to do your seeds in a milk jug. And it's super easy, low commitment, low money, and you get more varieties than you could ever imagine. And you can try some things and you're not like so vested in that you're heartbroken if they die. Now, I love doing it this way, and I will always do it this way. If I can put it in a milk jug and throw it outside, I will do that over seed starting any day of the week. Now, I just had a question and answer session. I hope you guys caught that. I put it out on Saturday. Those answered all the questions from February. I will be doing that every single month. It's always going to be the second Saturday of the month. So make sure you tune in for those to get those questions answered that were put out there in the videos for the month that we just had. I am also going to be starting another video on Mondays. Now, it might not be every single Monday, and it probably won't start until April, or maybe the end of March, but sometime it's going to be Mondays. And the Monday videos are going to be about vegetables and herbs. That way, if that's something that you want to watch, you can watch on Mondays about that topic. And about once a week is when you really need to update what you're talking about in the garden or what you're planting. And I'm thinking as we get going, it'll be heavier at the beginning, and then maybe it'll filter out to every other as we get going through the season, but I just thought that I'd put that out there so that you guys can do that, and it makes it easier for me to be on like a little bit of a schedule. So that's all I've got for today, you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, if you plant a garden, it's because you believe in tomorrow. I'm Michelle. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.